Welcome to Shine. I am Kiara Jones, also known as the Shine Strategist, and I'm so excited to be here with you today. If you're not familiar with me, I am so passionate about helping women, service-based business owners show up and shine more powerfully, more profitably, and more purposefully in your genius and in your gifts. I focus on helping my women up-level their mindset, their messaging, and their monetization so that they can package and position their expertise more powerfully. So today I am super excited because I'm taking over for Dorothy-Inez. I'm taking over Shine, and I am just really excited for this show. I know that this show was created to talk about all the things beauty, business, spirituality, to really inspire you to own your spotlight. So today, our guest in this takeover is the very one and only Dorothy-Inez, and we're going to be talking about her journey and how you can show up and how you can shine with purpose, with power, and with presence in your business and in your life. So stay tuned. All right. So welcome back, everyone. So let me introduce our guest today. We have Dorothy-Inez. She is a 3-time international best-selling author, an inspirational speaker, a confidence coach who helps women leaders in network marketing show up and shine online and with more confidence and more presence. She holds a bachelor's in organizational psychology from Azaro, sorry if I said that wrong, Pacific University. When she is not working with her clients, she is studying spirituality, watching movies, and listening to her favorite Prince music. She is a Prince fan, like one of the biggest I've ever met. So please welcome Dorothy-Inez.
Hey, that was a Azusa Pacific.
Thank you. I was like, oh, all of the alumni is going to come after me.
They're going to come after you, girl.
I know. Know that it's with love. It's with love. I'm so excited to be here with you.
Me too. I'm so blessed to have, one of my dearest friends. Kiara's known me like forever. We used to be mastermind buddies, and we're still sisters, and I just love her. And so I wouldn't have anyone else interview me but you, girl.
Well, thank you. I'm excited to be here on Shine on the show and to do this takeover. So, let's go ahead. Let's dive right in. All right. So I want you to just kind of briefly tell us what has led you to this powerful work that we do. I mean, your intro just kind of went through it. You are so phenomenal at what you do. What led you to this work?
Well, like many people, Kiara, what leads us to our work is, our own mess becomes our message. And for me, back in 2010, when I decided to leave my corporate job and go for the dream of becoming a makeup artist, this work was triggered as I was a makeup artist and I was working with women, powerful women, successful women, and realizing that no matter how successful a woman is, she struggles with the area of confidence. And I was one of those women. When I was in corporate, I remember walking around. I always had my power suit, this red suit that I would wear. And I remember people would be like, "Oh, you look so great, Dorothy-Inez. You've got it going on." But the truth was, on the inside, Kiara, I was a hot mess because of how I grew up, never feeling like I was good enough, knew enough. I was an overachiever. I mean, that's why I got so many. You know me, Kiara. My list of degrees goes on more. Because I never felt like I was enough. So I was always trying to do more. And this led me, when I was working on my master's at Azario, aka Azusa, I did my thesis work in confidence, and that made me an expert in this area. And I realized that the thing women are missing is confidence. And I made it my life's mission to help women to show up and shine, and be the person that God has called them to be, because that's what I had to do. So that's what got me started.
Yeah. Oh, thank you so much for sharing that background with us and taking us through that journey. Something that you said was I would walk around the office in my power suit, and I love me a red lip, red couch. I love all red things. And it's like, on the inside though, right? You knew that something was missing, and it wasn't the way that it appeared to be on the outside. And I think that
Right.
that's so beautiful about the work that you do, is helping women and calling them back within
Mhm.
themselves.
Yep. Yep.
Yeah.
We have to go within, because, even thinking back to the beginnings of my journey, Kiera, I remember the day that I moved to Savannah, Georgia. And that's when I hired my very first coach. I was laying on a couch having what I call my nervous breakthrough. And I was just starting this business. Just I started as a self-love and beauty coach. And, I remember being curled up. It was a rainy night in Savannah, Georgia. And my husband had deployed to, I think, Iraq or something like that. And I was all alone. I had just moved there. And I remember thinking, man, I was in that super victim mode. And after 8 hours of crying, I got up off the bed, and I said, you know what? I'm going to hire a coach. And I remember hiring that coach, and I thought, oh, she's going to help me launch this business. And she was like, no, girl, we got to work on you. And because she was like, before you can help anyone else, you have to help yourself first. And that's when this whole journey, like you were saying, doing the inner work, it was 1 year, and it's continued over these last 11 years, Kiera, of constantly growing myself through the inner work to become the best version of who I was meant to be.
Oh gosh, I love that. And I don't think I had heard that story to that depth before. And I love that you said you laid down, you cried for 8 hours, and then you got up and you said, what am I going to do
Literally.
about this?
Literally cried I was a victim. I remember like crying out for my grandma, my dad, because I had moved somewhere. I was all alone, had no friends. And it was, yeah.
Yeah. But the power is in, you claimed victimhood, but in the next moment, literally like that, you claimed, I'm taking this back. I'm taking back my power. I'm taking back control. I'm going to hire a coach. I'm going to get help. And so we don't have to stay in that space. You get to be in there and have as many, as cry as long as you want, but you get to come back to it. So
Exactly.
I think that's so beautiful. And, speaking of confidence, so I hear you say it all the time, right? You're a confidence coach. And sometimes I think that for a lot of us, the word confidence itself can be really vague, right? It's like, well, what does confidence look like? And it could look different for you than for someone. A red power suit is confidence, and for someone, they could be in yoga pants and feel like they're the bomb.com. So when we hear confidence, I know that you've been published in academic journals, and you've written in books about confidence, and you pour so much into your work. You've been educated. You have so many different degrees and things like that. So can you kind of share your background when it comes to what you've studied and written about when it comes to confidence?
So what I've learned, you bring up a lot of points. What I've learned, what confidence, the true definition of confidence has to do with your belief and your skills and your talents and your abilities. And then there's self-esteem, which is your belief and feelings about yourself, who you are. And so to me, confidence, self-confidence, is a combination of the two. It's this belief that, like today's topic is about being unstoppable. So it's having that unstoppable, unshakable belief in what you believe you can do. And then there's that esteem, this belief in who you are. and what you were meant to be. And through my studies, what I found, how we cultivate that is through our willingness to step out into the unknown, the very thing that scares us, to step out and allow ourselves, number one, because we want to first think, oh, I'm going to fail. But number one, allow ourselves the ability to potentially succeed. And then if we do fail, to see that as a learning experience and continue to keep doing that, because it's in that doing that you become confident, that you become who you were meant to be. It's having faith. And I think we're going to get into this later, but your faith plays a role. It's not just all about, this whole fake it till you make it thing, Kiera. It's a combination of knowing who you are, in spirit, because we're going to talk about this later, but it's knowing who you are, because we come into this earth confident. We come in here knowing, if you remember, before the age of 6, you had big dreams. You had things that you wanted to do. But as life goes, people in their own lack and limited thinking put that on us, and it begins to diminish our own belief in ourselves. And as adults, we have to do things to cultivate confidence. And so that's what I've learned. It's a practice. To me, confidence is a spiritual practice.
Yeah. I love that reminder of we already were born confident and we've had all these big dreams. And something that I say very similar is it's kind of this calling you back into who you always were. It's not you becoming something different. And I think sometimes when it comes to confidence, it's this idea of like, I need to wear this thing or be this way or look this way or talk this way for me to be something else, as if it's outside of us. And your work is very much, I know you talk a lot about identity, and I know we're going to talk about that, but bringing people back, women specifically, into this space where you see who you are, you step into your fullest identity. And I know that a lot of your work has this spiritual element that is tied to it. So can you talk about how you incorporate this spirituality into the work that you do and why that's important to you?
This is my jam, to talk about spirituality, because what I have learned, Kiera, is that everything goes back to who we truly are. And who we truly are spiritual beings. And many of you may have heard this. We are spiritual beings having a human experience. I always take things for me back to scripture, where it says, I'm created in the image and very likeness of God, that within me there is this Christ. And so when I cloak myself in the Christ, I know that all things are possible. And it's through the energy, the Christ energy, that I invite women to step. Let's say you're afraid of being in front of the camera. Well, you cloak yourself, you do a little prayer, whatever it takes for you to put that cloak on. And that's usually some spiritual practice. Sometimes it's singing for me, gets me in that Christ mode. But what I've learned is that when we return to truth, that is where we find our confidence. When we begin to learn, Kiera, and know within that our work is not about us. A lot of times, if we look at what we're afraid of, we're like, oh, I'm afraid of this, or I don't want to be judged. I look fat. I. Everything is about you rather than it being about the other person on the other side of this green dot. And when you tap in to your inner self, that higher self, your work is no longer about you, but about those that you are called to serve. And so that's where spirituality comes in, whether it's beauty, whether it's our mindset, whether it's our identity. All of them here, all of those things I touch on with women go back to our spiritual oneness, that oneness with the divine.
Yeah. Oh my goodness. That is so powerful. And you said, like, you talked about your truth, reminding you of your truth, reclaiming
Mhm.
your truth, stepping back into your truth.
Mhm.
And what I hear also with that is when you talk about the video specifically, because you're an amazing, a lot of the work that you do is also to help women be more visible and to show up on video and to own who they are and be present, and amplify their presence, I should say. But it changes the conversation from, oh, I can't do that video, or I'm not good on video, to like, well, who am I here to serve and who am I speaking to through this camera? And it's not about whether it's enough or it's right or wrong. It's about, is it speaking the truth to them? Are
Right.
they getting whatever they're supposed to get from it? And I love how you change the dialogue from like, it's not about you, it's about what's the impact for them that are
Mhm.
watching.
Yeah, and once you begin to shift your mind to that Christ mind, that the mind of a servant, that servant leadership, how you see the work, how you show up, who you be in life shifts, and you show up with more power. Like I say, more purpose, more power, more presence,
Yeah.
because you're in your true strength, the inner strength. Because if you try to just depend, Kiara, just on yourself, that's when ego kicks in. And that ego means you've edged God out and you've allowed your carnal self to be all caught up in what people are going to think about you. And the truth is, the work we do is not about us. Showing up in front of this camera, doing this interview, this isn't about us. This is about those women and men that are listening right now. And we all have an obligation to show up.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Obligation to our deeper purpose.
Yes.
I love that. And thank you for sharing that. I think that it's so powerful and it's so deep. And I think it could be really beneficial for those that are watching to maybe dive into a little bit more on how exactly you coach. So maybe you want to take us through your framework or kind of like break down the other elements of your framework, because the spiritual and identity part is so powerful.
Mm-hmm.
What really is the breakdown of your framework so that we can get a clearer picture of how you coach when we work with you?
Yeah, so I take a holistic approach to working with my clients, because and they have the ability to come in through different doors. I work with women privately and I work in group settings. And what we do is, like you said, spiritual identity. It's like the foundation: spiritual identity, self-love, self-care. Because as entrepreneurs, we can all be guilty of forgetting about taking care of ourselves, forgetting about having life balance. And so this is one of the foundational pillars. And then, health as well. All of that's, self-care. Then there's the ability to, we've got to work on mindset. We've got to make sure you're in your purpose. And then there's that personal branding piece. Does how you show up align with who you say you are? Because truth be told, many women don't want to hear this, Kiara, but truth be told, we are judged by what people see first. People will say, oh, Dorothy-Inez says she's a confidence coach, but she doesn't look confident. Look at how she's dressed. Because see, our style, our accessories, and I'm an image consultant, so I know all of these things are speaking before I ever get a chance to speak. So if my personal brand, if I say I'm a millionaire, my personal brand doesn't align with millionaire on a subconscious level, people aren't going to believe me. It's going to impact my credibility. So women come in, Kiara, they may come in and say, Dorothy-Inez, I want to work on my personal brand. They might come through that gate, but as I work with them, I might find, well, this woman needs some work on her mindset as well, so that she aligns with that personal brand. Because I can't help you create $1 million brand, but you don't have $1 million mind,
Yeah.
right? So, or you don't have the confidence. Maybe you need to start being more visible, but you don't have the confidence inside, the self-worth that's needed. So I might need to work with you on that. So women can come in through any of those gates, but what they get is the whole package: identity work, spiritual work, self-love, self-care. They get all of that.
Beautiful, beautiful. And I believe that it makes it, like you said, it's more of a holistic
Yes.
approach. And also something that's really important to me, and it goes back to that comment with the power red suit, right? I mean, yes, your style is 100% a part of how you present yourself to the world and in a reflection of what you think about yourself. But I have also seen women they look amazing and they don't embody that confidence. So what I hear you saying is we're going to work on the inner work. We're going to work on the embodiment of it all
Mhm.
so that you can be that person. Because I would hate you look amazing. You're not that
Right.
person. But then we want to make sure the outer does match what you feel inside in whatever way that means for you. So I love that you talk about that balance is what I hear.
Yeah, and that's actually if you were to see my diagram of my pillars, the final phase is called embodiment. Embodiment, because once you've gone through those five pillars holistically, that's what you end up doing is you are a full embodiment of a confident woman.
Love it. I actually really didn't know that.
Mhm.
So there we go. Comes together. So let me see. So something that came up for me as you were talking, and I guess it actually is a part of this embodiment conversation too, now that I think about it. A lot of times women come in and they're like, listen, in your case, I want to grow my business. I need another sales script. I need to get a new business coach. I need to focus on like some complicated funnel. I need to do all this stuff.
Right.
And it's kind of like we're running away from the inner stuff, that embodiment, that identity work that we're talking about. And it's like it's easier sometimes for us to do all that other stuff, but then that other stuff is really complicated and we wonder why it doesn't work and we spend a lot of money on it. And it's like, man, if you just do the inner work, you would be set. So when it comes to the women that you work with and them coming in, can you talk about the fact that maybe it's not necessarily this business strategy thing you need? Maybe it is really
Mhm.
this mindset, confidence, spiritual identity work you need. Can you talk to that?
Absolutely, because this immediately here brings up. I don't know if we knew each other at this time, because I'm trying to think. I know I was in California. Do you remember when I hired my very first high level coach? Do you remember that? Were you around?
Not sure. I can't remember.
So I hired my very first high level coach, and I was so proud. Oh, I made this big, at the time, $5,000 was huge, for me to hire somebody for 3 months. And I was so super excited, like, yeah, I finally did it. And every week I would meet with this coach, and she would give me assignment after assignment every week. And I'd come back, not one assignment was done. Next week, no more homework, not one assignment was done. And then at the end, what I found myself doing, Kiera, was blaming the coach. She promised I was going to have 10K months. And I had a 0K month the whole 3 months I was with her. And what I came to realize in that process, because remember, life's always happening for us. We're always learning. We're never a victim of a circumstance unless you allow yourself to be a victim. And in that moment, I had victim consciousness. But what I realized as I grew and developed myself, Kiera, is that I didn't have the mindset of a woman that could create $10,000 in her business. It wasn't about the coach. It was about where I was internally. I didn't believe I was worth being paid whatever I was charging at that time. So I didn't have the courage, the confidence I needed to step out and ask for the sales, to step out and execute all, because she gave me a lot of scripts. I had every tool I needed, Kiera, except the mindset, except the confidence, except the belief that I was worthy. And that's what a lot of women, right now I'm in direct sales and I coach women specifically in direct sales. And these women, I can't tell you, every time I need a new script. I need a new script. If I put a script out there, they're downloading the script. But what they really need is the confidence to execute the script.
Yeah.
So that's what I learned, Kiera.
Yeah. Confidence to execute the script. And this is like my favorite word right now, confidence to really embody that next level is what I'm hearing you say. And I believe that next level of where you see yourself, because whether you see yourself at 5,000, 10,000, whatever it is, what you believe is what you will allow yourself to have. And so
Mhm.
I think it goes back to, in my opinion, that identity work.
Mhm.
And are you being the woman who does whatever it is you want, right? We're not here to tell you, well, this is, this goal is good to have and this goal is good to have. You can have whatever goals you want, but whatever it is you want and you desire, really connecting and identifying that it's you and not this like, oh, it's something different. I have to step
Mhm.
outside of me. It's something I can have. It's something that's possible for me. And it's not just, possible for other people. So I feel like that embodiment, that identity work is really connecting them with what desires you have. And you may find, with your clients, you desire more than what you were saying you wanted. Or maybe
Mhm.
you desire, I don't want to say less, but just something different than you thought. Because sometimes we take on desires from the world and we have a lot of pressure on like, this is what success equals. And it's like, no, you identify with success
Right.
in this way.
Right. And you bring up another good point, because when you're talking about embodiment and about seeing yourself, women have to be able to see themselves. They have to be able to have a vision, because you can't become that which you cannot see, number one. And then you must be able to feel yourself as that person, being that person. Because one thing I've learned through my spiritual work when it comes to manifestation is what we call the feeling tone. If you cannot see and you cannot feel the woman you were meant to be, you will never become her. This is why meditation, and I teach meditation as part of my work. You have to be able to meditate, take time in the morning to feel and see that woman, take on her energy, and then step out into the world, step into your day from that place. What would that future self do today? And be that today. Feel into that today, because your future self is already here. It's
Yeah.
just a decision to be her.
Oh, so good.
Mhm.
Speaking of that, I know you mentioned your direct sales team and helping them in this way. And so I've known you to be a coach for years, right? And I know that in the last year, you've added in the network marketing side of your business. And
Mhm.
so I would love for you to talk about how that transition has gone and how you've incorporated that into your work.
So the transition, adding, actually, I won't even say call it a transition, because I'm a coach, but adding direct sales / network marketing, however we want to call it, adding that to my business, number one, added an additional stream of income, because as women, we want to be smart and have multiple streams of income. We don't want to put all our eggs in one basket. And how I ended up with this, Kiera, I'm focused on my coaching, but how this came up is last year, right before the pandemic, I launched my vision board class. I do that vision board class every year, and I host it here in Minneapolis. And in the class, all these women were like, Dorothy-Inez, will you teach a makeup class? And girl, I had hung up my makeup brushes. So I was like, no, I ain't doing no makeup class. Please, please. Okay. And so I thought to myself, why not add a line of makeup? If I'm going to do these classes like I did in Seattle, I had a makeup line, and then I used those products to do my classes so that I wasn't leaving money on the table. And so it ended up, I signed up with the direct sales company that I'm with, and the day I got my kit, 2 days later, we were in a pandemic. Do you think anybody was trying to buy confidence coaching? Mm-mm. But they were trying to get skincare. And so this whole last year, my direct sales business was the very thing here that kept me engaged with people. It allowed me to keep serving and coaching and leading women, and it allowed me to bring light during a time of darkness. And so it's been a great thing for me, and it allowed me to still do what I'm here to do, especially when coaching wasn't, available. Because one thing I know, Kiera, is women don't mind being broke, but they definitely don't want to be broke and ugly. Okay, that's one thing I've learned about this pandemic. So it's been a wonderful thing to add this on as an additional source of income, because the work that I did today, in fact, today, a prime example, I had a customer. We worked together at the beginning of the pandemic. Just checked my email, Kiera. I have a $177 order sitting there. 50% of that is mine. I didn't have to do anything. That's the beauty of direct sales.
Okay, awesome. I love, the opportunity that you talk about it adding. Like, so if you already do something, you can bring that in as just another stream of income. And I know that you and I have had this personal conversation before. And so for those that are watching, maybe they feel this way as well. So for me personally, as someone, I have not done direct sales or network marketing. I had my own product-based business where I was friends and interacted, and people thought my business was a direct sales. Like, no, this is
how I met you.
That's how we met, actually. Yeah, if you're watching, that's how we met. But one thing that I will say for me is that I haven't personally vibed with the way that some network marketers approach like sales and things like that. And so, but I know that you do it different. And so I just want to acknowledge that. And so I'd love for you to share that, because someone watching this may feel that way too. And so how do you find that you and your team, and you teach your team to approach this a little different, so you're not like that network marketer, you know?
That. Well, number one, this day and age, the new generation of network marketers coming out, we're just not into the old way of doing things because it feels yucky. And so how I do is, number one is curiosity, is and thinking about how does what you have fulfill a need, just like with coaching here. How does your product fulfill a need? How does your business fulfill a need? So you always, just like with coaching here, we always want to be listening. And then if you have something to fill in that gap, you simply make the offer. We don't harass. You don't want to be harassing. That's not what we teach. But we teach about really being in service. And so when people come from a place of service, number one, when you invite people to be a part of your team, it doesn't feel yucky for you, because that woman or man may have said, you know what? My family needs an additional stream of income. I'm out here looking for a part-time job. I'm scared of getting the virus or whatever. Well, guess what? Boom. If you're listening, you have an opportunity that might fulfill a need. Hey, my skin is super dry. I'm getting, breaking out from masking. Hello. Do you have a solution? You listen. So that's how I've approached it. That's how my team approaches it, is we look at how does what we do and what we have fulfill a need for somebody, not harass people.
Yeah. Yeah, no, that is really good. And speaking of your team, and I'm sure this helps them too with that same issue. We're talking about identity. And so, if you're helping women and you're coaching, focus on who are you, right? Who are you? What's unique about you? What's, what is it that makes you amazing? Then you're probably, I know you're doing the same thing with your team, your network marketing team.
Yeah.
Where it's like, hey, how do you approach this client or customer situation? And you be you. You don't have to be like us. So I feel like it's very connected with your work. And so my question is, whether it's someone on your network marketing team that you've partnered with, or a coaching client in your confidence coaching programs, how do you find your identity, spiritual confidence work really helping your women amplify not only their success, but their life? How have you seen it help women amplify their success in their life after they work with you?
What I see women doing is, number one, they may make their first sale. They may become more assertive. Like, I have a client right now that I'm thinking she's actually going to be on my show in 2 weeks. And I couldn't believe, I was like, what? She was like, Dorothy-Inez, I'm going to be on your show. I was like, what? Okay. And just, 3 years ago, she wouldn't have said that. 3 years ago, I couldn't get this person to even say a prayer, on one of our group coaching calls, those types of things. Being able to say no is another huge one, to say no to things that don't make them happy. I think that's the one I hear a lot is, Dorothy-Inez, I'm so proud I said no. I fired this client. Heck, I was even fired, by one of my clients, not like fired in a bit, not fired like fired, like
Yeah, yeah,
firing,
yeah,
but
yeah.
you know what I mean. But seeing these women show up in their power is so awesome. Making sales, when they come to me and they're like, Dorothy-Inez, I made my first sale. I got my first client. I'm super excited, because the point is that they were able to stand in their value, stand in their worth, or get that first, person on their team, because now they were able to confidently share about the opportunity that they have to offer. So a lot of things happen for women when they work with me. I've had women leave relationships because they have been able to have the confidence and belief in themselves, whether that's a partner relationship or whether that's a friendship relationship.
Beautiful. And really what I hear is like, this work is not just about your business, right? You might come in like, oh yeah, this is about me being successful in my business.
Mm-hmm.
And then it becomes, ooh, it's this trickle effect where it's like, oh, so this is how I show up in my relationships. This is how I show up for myself. This is how I show up for my body. This is how I
Right.
show up for what I'm eating. I mean, it literally, this is work where it's like, when you think about it from, is it valuable to invest in? You know, all these questions, it's like, well, it's priceless, because it literally touches every single thing that that you touch. And yes, Dawn is sharing some comments. We're so excited to see you here, Dawn. Thanks for your comment, and glad that you're enjoying the show. So I know that you are a visionary.
Mm-hmm.
And your work is so powerful. Like, if we can see your passion that you have had for years in this work that you do.
Years.
Years.
I like the way you stress that, Kiara.
Well,
Years.
yes. I mean, we're going to give you your props. I mean, like we said earlier, confidence sometimes is that where we're like, well, what does that look like? But I mean, you've been published in academic journals. You have gotten degrees. You've had corporate experience. You have, went into network marketing and with different companies. I mean, you've done a lot. So yes, we want to give you your props. When you think about the mentorship work that you do, why does it mean so much to you? Why is mentoring women and leading women in this way just so important to you?
Just the thought gets me emotional. Emotional thinking about it. And it might sound like a contrived answer, but truly my answer is because, oh gosh, I get emotional, Kiara.
That's that passion.
I didn't know you were going to ask me this question, but I do what I do because it truly is God's work. It truly, what moves me, what inspires me is, when I leave this earth, is I imagine, there's power in visioning.
Mm-hmm.
And what I imagine, Kiara, is when I go before God and he looks at me and he says, well done. Well done, my good and faithful daughter. And that is why I do what I do, because I'm here on assignment, Kiara. I'm not here to lollygag and F around. I'm here to make a difference in the lives of women. And it hasn't been an easy road, but it's a road that sometimes is less traveled, and I'm honored to travel it. I'm honored that God chose me.
Oh, thank you for sharing.
I get so emotional about it because it really is a heart thing for me.
Yeah. Thank you so much for sharing your passion. And, I think that is one thing no one could say, is that you are not, that we could never say you're not passionate about the work that you do, and that you are not truly bringing all of yourself. And, sometimes, and I just am saying that sometimes I feel like, especially in this online space, so if you're watching this show right now and you have no idea who Dorothy-Inez is, or who I am, or whoever, like sometimes we don't, we're in a space, especially now, we're not going to in-person events as much. And so sometimes I think we have hesitation to, oh, can I trust this person? Can I invest in this person? Should I really trust my dreams with them? Should I really spend money with them? All the things. And in my opinion, I've put out this post months ago, and I said something like, for me, I may not have like the fanciest website or the fanciest systems or whatever, but there's one thing, and that's you're getting my heart. And I feel that way with you, and that your clients would say the same about you. And, it's like, if you don't know me from a can of paint, one thing you're going to see, right, when they're watching you right now is your passion. And so I love that you get to show that side of you and that you bring that into your work. And I love that you are here calling other women to that level of connection with themselves and with their calling and with their work too. That's really what's going on.
Yeah,
I
love that I get to do that. Thank you, Kiera. I love that I get to do that, because it truly is a work of my heart. Until the day I'm out of here, this is what I'll be doing.
Yeah. Oh, well, Dorothy-Inez, I cannot even believe that our time is up, but I just want to thank you so much for letting me take over the show today. I had such an amazing time, and I'm just really just so proud of you and all the passion you bring in the work you do and how you help women. It's so beautiful. So is there anything that you wanted to share that's coming up next week?
Yeah, well, first of all, let me thank you, Kiera, personally. Thank you for being the hostess with the mostest today. And Kiera is actually we're going to learn more about Kiera on a show coming up. Did we book for May? Is that what we did?
It's March 31st, but we will let you know for sure.
I knew it started with an M. Okay, because I was off today. I was off today. So March 31st, Kiera is going to be our guest here. So we're going to learn more about this beautiful sister as well. And then next week, we have Miss Dawn L. Johnson, who is tuning in. Now, this is going to be fire. Next week, we're going to be talking about leadership. We're going to be talking about stepping into who you were meant to be. It's going to be a powerful, powerful session with Miss Dawn L. Johnson. So join me next week. Mark your calendar. We'll be on at our regular time next week, which is 1 p.m. Eastern. And if you're watching this on YouTube, be sure to subscribe to my channel, so that way you have access to all the goodness that comes through every single Wednesday. So I want to thank you for showing up and shining with us today. Join us next week, and I look forward to seeing you. Remember to subscribe. Have a good one. Thank you again, Kiera.
Of course. Bye, everyone.